Right. And when we apply sort of purity tests around language or, belonging to certain groups or sects, then we exclude all those other folks who maybe, don't have the time, the access, the education, the lived experience, whatever that helps them to feel that they are in fact part of that movement. I was just telling a story recently of, I realized my mother graduated from high school in 1975 and was, a peak at the beginning of the feminist, the women's movement, and asked her, what was that like? And she said, it was like nothing. I paid zero attention to it because it was for rich ladies. And she was very profoundly poor. There was no room for her in that. And yet she was engaged in feminist work, in social change, and had a lived experience that was of value to that. But if we only sort of allow in or invite spaces for people who pass like our language tests, our purity tests, or who have read the same books we have, then all the people you've just named, Drew, like not all of them, but they don't have a space, and yet it is for them. They are already the leaders of this work in many ways. Sorry, I feel like I co-opted the conversation.
I think some of it goes to Judy Cal's point earlier about how movements get narrated, who gets to tell the story and who's claiming the story of what is feminism is super contested. And obviously we have some pretty strong anti-feminist opponents who are going to try to tell one kind of a story as well. And so I think somehow being able to highlight, I just went to a webinar about the women's suffrage movement, and all these stories of really local organizing that I had never heard, and the kind of unique tactics and the on the ground work that all different kinds of groups were doing, they get lost in the narration. And so for me, some curiosity moving forward is how we manage all of our information systems. We're getting so much all the time, to be able to see and hear what is the really cool feminist work people are doing in their specific local communities. How do we amplify, the network, thinking about feminism in a much broader way.
Mm. Yeah.
And I guess I just want to say one last thing is that I think one way that the opposition has done a really good job is making it seem like a super slog, that social change and activism and feminism is no fun, not worth it. It's going to take all your time and get you, only misery. And so telling stories of organizing as breaking isolation, as building community, as having creativity and fun. And I think the most inspiring kind of work that I've been reading is that Adrienne Marie Brown's thinking around pleasure activism and reclaiming pleasure and creating activist space that is inherently a good place to be, and learning how to be good to ourselves and each other as part of that activism. And so I feel like, we can make it, we have to claim meaning making